All numbers are interesting. Have you ever heard the proof that all numbers are interesting? Has anybody heard this before?
That was actually a lander. It was a hover test vehicle, but that's actually the lander. The rover is attached to that, and then it kind of rolls out. That lander is actually based on the NASA's their spacecraft bus.
So this is a inflatable dish. So we've spoken with Gator Technologies. This packs down to the size of a backpack. Uses 900 watts of power. It's an S-band communication system.
Our landing procedure is actually planned to be a non-traditional one. We're based on a space teeler, and we detach the thruster and fuel tanks, and we start rotating along a line.
It's almost this comedy technique. So this is the Russian Yenta rocket, which is the former ICBM. It actually is one of the byproducts of the Cold War, and it's a pretty good one. It's the most reliable way we want to get in low Earth orbit, and it's the way we want to go. It's not just a fun platform, it's a little bit our educational platform, but it just became our educational platform because people seem to love it. And the reason why we built this, everybody who's doing robotics immediately should realize this, the reason why we built this is because it's a full functional model which has the same moving capabilities as the real prototype. So it actually can do the exact same things as our very, very expensive R3 series prototype.
Our part of motor for movement test is already ready. Our guys actually really now putting it together, and we will start our movement tests in the next month.
We got great sponsors to give us SolidWorks, Solid Edge. Hey, we got FEMAP. We got 20 seats of FEMAP. You know, $50,000 software package, if you know what that is.
So, on the left-hand side is the architecture for our mission. We use the Star, currently we're based on the Star 30 BP, which is, you see the stack there on the left-hand side of the blue box. That stack has the little prospect.
Because today's kids in Israel, and I'm assuming other countries as well, they all want to be rock stars and celebrities, but they don't want to be rocket scientists and engineers. And we're aiming to change that.
Good. What we started also right from the beginning was just to build up a strong presence in education and public outreach. This is just for the reason, first, it's necessary for coping with the requirements of the GLSP.
This is basically design stay under this. Two main parts, gear, which is supposed to be move antenna and camera stand. Camera stand will be as additional leg, and these two gears is considered open. That means they will be supposed to work in a dusty environment. And second, the gear was actually really heavy, and as a result needed to abandon the idea of the gears.
But we have students and faculty and people who've been out of college for 10, 15, 20 years who believe that we can do anything because of what we've started at the university, because of the Google Lunar X Prize. And that's what we're about, and that's what we're doing.
I don't want to be 60 and then look back and say, hey, I had an opportunity to do something which would be really cool, which would be great to do, and I walked away. So I go back and say, okay, let me headbutt with these 26 other teams and try and make it happen. So that's the code which keeps us on track every day, day in and day out.
Angelicum Investments is the only and first private company of Chile investing in aerospace development. We've also invited many other institutions, the next please, and University of Santiago, Chile, University of Santísima Trinidad Concepción, University of Concepción, the second largest city, and the only university that has aerospace engineering in South America.
How are we going to pay for all this? Rocket contracting, technology licensing, sponsorship, lunar surface payloads, and other business deals that we currently have underway.
As the Earth rotates underneath. A fourth position would be flight dynamics and trajectory. It's taking in the ranging and Doppler off the transponder, it's taking in C-band tracking, it's processing it up through Goddard and the Flight Dynamics Lab. It's comparing actual versus predicted of the onboard state, where it thinks it is, versus the ground state, where it thinks it is. It's plotting the trajectory maneuvers for the burns, for descent, for lunar orbit insertion, delta V's, what the attitude of the spacecraft ought to be. Very complex position. So flight dynamics and trajectory. And then the fifth position would be an operations director of flight ground that oversees the entire operation, has authority to make any decision that he or she thinks is necessary.
I remember when I first met Peter Diamandis, he was trying to raise money for the what became the Ansari X Prize by selling the rights to a screenplay that he had written. And so I had to disabuse him of this notion that not only was he not going to get $10 million, he wasn't likely to get $100,000. And given he'd never written anything and what the screenplay was like, he'd be lucky to get $10,000. And so periodically I have to remind him of that fact. And we found another way to finance that competition.